So in this video, I will talk about Ju Fufu, who's just been revealed as one of the big new characters coming to version 2.0. And honestly, there's a lot more going on with her than I initially expected. If you were thinking she was just going to be a basic defense tank, well, that's not exactly the case. Let's break it all down because her kit is actually way more interesting and a lot more flexible than people first thought. By the way, I'm running a 5 Internaut membership giveaway at 1,000 subs. If you don't want to miss it, or the latest Zenless Zone 0 updates, make sure you're subscribed. So, Ju Fufu is an S-rank agent with the fire attribute, and she specializes in stun. But here's the thing, she's not the classic on-field tank like you might assume when you hear stun or defense unit. Instead, she plays more like an off-field damage dealer and a support buffer. Her main gimmick revolves around this adorable but deadly thing called the popcorn pot, which she literally uses as her weapon. When Ju Fufu uses her skills, she deploys the popcorn pot onto the field. It stays out there, auto-attacking enemies on its own while passively generating a resource called heat. And this heat system is super important to how she plays. Once she builds up enough heat, you need over 100 heat, she triggers a chain attack. And when that happens, she doesn't just deal damage, she also buffs your entire team, giving them a critical damage boost and an ultimate damage boost that lasts a full 20 seconds. And the best part? If she triggers her chain attack again before the timer runs out, the buff duration refreshes, so you can maintain these buffs across longer fights pretty easily if you manage her heat well. Now, because she's generating all this heat and has the popcorn pot constantly attacking, Ju Fufu naturally leans toward being a semi-off-field character. You can technically stay on field and manually control her spinning attacks, but it's really not necessary most of the time. After a dodge or dash attack, you can hold down the attack button and she'll perform a high-speed spin. You can stack up to 10 heat rotations, which fuels how long she can keep spinning and dealing fire damage. What's clever about her design is that when you swap her out mid-spin, she keeps spinning and dealing damage automatically, and during that time she's completely invincible. If you stay on-field, you get a 60% damage reduction bonus and super armor, meaning you're harder to interrupt. It's a really smart system that gives you a lot of flexibility depending on the fight. Her special attack and her X special attack also tie back into the heat generation system. They provide extra heat and more heat rotations so you can build up faster and chain your buffs more smoothly. Even her assist skills contribute to building heat rotations, so every part of her kit feels like it loops back into this core mechanic. One thing that makes Ju Fufu even more interesting is her interaction with certain team types. Her additional ability gives a big boost to attack and rupture units by increasing their maximum decibel resource to 3,500. That's a huge deal if you're running characters like xuan, who, by the way, is a rupture unit. Increasing decibel cap means you have more breathing room in your rotations. You're not forced to fire off ultimates immediately just to avoid wasting resources. It makes fights feel smoother, especially when you're juggling multiple heavy hitters. Now, about Rupture itself. In case you missed the earlier news, Rupture is a brand new type of specialty introduced in 2.0. Rupture agents deal sheer damage, which is a new damage type completely separate from penetration ratio or flat penetration. Sheer damage is expected to work by ignoring enemy defense altogether. That's right, not just reducing defense like penetration normally does, but actually bypassing it. If that turns out to be true, it would mean that typical debuffs like Nicole's defense down or Rena's penetration buffs won't impact sheer damage directly. Though, just to be fair, this is still based on early info and needs final confirmation after beta testing. Ju Fufu's synergy with Rupture units like xuan is pretty obvious. She buffs their overall team DPS by helping manage decibel, provides consistent buffs to critical damage and ultimate damage, and helps accelerate burst rotations by keeping heat flowing, even while she's off-field. It makes her feel like a really natural fit for fast, aggressive team compositions. And speaking of her team role, it's worth mentioning that she's not locked to fire-based teams either. Even though she's a fire attribute unit herself, her kit is really universal. She boosts critical and ultimate damage, she doesn't depend on strict attribute matching, and she generates value passively just by existing on the field through her pod attacks and chain attack buffs. That means you could splash her into a lot of different lineups without needing to force fire teams. If we take a quick look at her Mindscape bonuses, her first Mindscape instantly gives her 100 heat when entering the field, letting you trigger her chain attack almost immediately. That's huge because it front-loads your buffs right from the start of battle. Higher Mindscapes even buff ultimate performance further by reducing enemy resistance, but honestly, she already looks very functional even at baseline without heavy investment. Overall, Ju Fufu is shaping up to be one of those off-field, semi-support characters that make everyone else stronger while also dealing consistent damage herself. She's not replacing characters like Lighter for Evelyn teams directly. Lighter still probably remains the go-to stun support for existing fire units. But Ju Fufu feels like she's designed for the future meta, where you'll have more Rupture units and mixed teams that care more about building heat, rage, and sheer damage combos. Personally, I'm really excited to see how people build around her, especially with xuan teams. Being able to stack critical damage buffs, ignore defense with sheer damage, and smoothly rotate ultimates without wasting decibel sounds like it's going to be insanely fun for aggressive players. Anyway, that's a full breakdown of Ju Fufu's kit for now. What do you guys think? Are you planning to pull for her, or are you waiting to see how she fits once version 2.0 actually launches? Let me know in the comments, because I'm really curious how people are feeling about her role after seeing the full kit revealed. And of course, if we get more info or any changes happen before release, I'll cover it too. There's a lot of big updates coming, and if you don't want to miss anything, make sure to subscribe.